This patch's all-new Spiral Abyss lineup is very different from the outgoing one. For starters, it doesn't have any hard element checks, which allows you to essentially use any team you enjoy. Unfortunately, that comes at the price of higher DPS checks and boss type floors that are frustrating if you don't know what you're doing. In this video, I'll be going over Spiral Abyss Floor 12 and show you how to tackle each chamber. I'll be also going over a brief rundown of the mechanics of the two bosses present in this abyss, namely the Maguu Kenki and the PMA. I'll be making a full clear of this abyss with lower investment teams as well as full speed attempt in a few days time. So make sure to hit that subscribe button and click on the notification bell to get notified whenever those videos come out. With that being said, let's get to the video. For Chamber 1 first half, you'll be greeted with 6 Whopper Flowers spawned in groups of 3 followed by 2 Geo Bishops. If you've seen my last video, you will recall that this is the exact same Whopper Flower setup for Chamber 2 first half. The only difference is that instead of running towards the back, this time our goal is to group the second wave of flowers by staying on the north side of the map. So what you'll do is take out the first wave immediately and make sure that you're positioned in the north side of the chamber when you kill the last flower. This will lure the second wave of flowers straight into you, which will be perfect because the Geo Bishops will also spawn in this side. While I'm killing these flowers, I would like to remind you to not be overly enthusiastic and run towards them like so. Anyways, after this wave, the Geo Bishops will spawn close by. Pick one of the Geo Bishops and push it into the other using your Elemental Burst. This will group them nicely, which will help you in doing damage. The second half of this floor is very simple. One Ruin Guard north side and one Ruin Grader south side, which will spawn after you kill the first one. There is a Cryo Monolith in this floor which might affect your setups, but it's not a big deal. After pressing the key, just run over to the first one. It's not worth to wait for it on the center because it's only one target. After killing it, run back up top immediately so that the Grader will not have time to do its running attack. I would advise you to save your bursts on your second half because trust me, you will need it. For Chamber 2 first half, you will be greeted with 2 slimes and 3 Meteorals with cryo shields. For the second wave, you'll see 1 slime that can spawn ice cages and a cryo lava churl that has the sheer cold aura. Because of the second wave, you essentially have 2 choices. If you prioritize removing the ice cages, you can run towards the north side of the map and lure the 3 shield guys there. This will put you in position to immediately start attacking the slime as soon as it spawns. I don't really like this one because the ice cages aren't actually that bad. Just running around at constant speed is enough to dodge it. But more importantly is the fact that being able to start DPSing the tankier enemy looks more appealing to me. If you think that makes sense, then run towards the back of the map instead. Now here's a tip. Make sure to have 2 Pyro Auras in the group before swirling them. This is because if you only have applied 1, the cryo swirls from the shields will override the pyro and you will end up not destroying the shields. After this, just immediately start killing the lava churl and keep an eye for the ice cages. If you feel like it's coming, just start walking in a straight line. Is that chamber fun? I think so too. But I'm more overjoyed by the fact that my favorite boss is back in Abyss. And no, that's not an exaggeration. I really like Kenki's design. But I can tell you some of his attack patterns instead. First is the mask attack, which is very simple. Second is this AoE slash, which I would advise you to stop hitting him with melee attacks while this happens. This is because hit lag actually affects the timing of the sound cues, which might throw you off. If you go away from him, he does this mask spawn thing, and if he notices that you're in the air, he will do this dash. This is the attack that you wanna keep in mind during setup because Kazuha can trigger that attack pattern. But it's not a big deal, you can just immediately run back towards him or reset the floor if it happens. Remember that there's an HP gate at the 75% mark, which will not let you do more damage until he finishes this attack, which will transition him to his second phase. Again, that attack is affected by hit lag, so don't touch him unless you really have the timings down. In his second phase, he does more damage and there's new patterns, so keep that in mind. Now remember that we forced him to do the dash attack earlier. That means after this plunge attack, he will most likely follow up with a teleport to a random location and do a total of 4 sword waves. Otherwise, he will most likely just dash backwards, summon a clone, and do a very wide AoE slash instead. And yes, he can do that on the spot as well. The dash attack is modified in this phase a bit, which will make him do a follow-up attack after he dashes towards you. Now the reason why I like this boss so much is because he actually has a lot of detail in his attacks. For example, see this pattern here? The clone actually changes elements depending on which side you dodge. If you dodge on the right side, you will see a cryo clone, but if you dodge to the left, you'll be greeted with an anemo one instead. Now why is that important? Well, if you have to choose between anemo, which only does damage, and cryo, which does damage and slows you down, I'll take the first one. Because of the fact that he dashes backwards most of the time, you will want to position him between you and the wall so that he stays on the exact same spot. If you want a more in-depth guide on how Kenki works, comment down below. On Chamber 3 first half, you'll be greeted by 2 of these things, I don't know what you call them. They have pretty simple attack patterns, but the most important one is this ball attack, which can drain your energy, but it's easy to dodge. Do you still remember the Geobishop setup I told you on the first half? Yeah, do that here. They get staggered in almost the exact same way as those guys. Now you will want to kill these guys very fast because the other chamber has a 3 million HP boss on it. The attack patterns are pretty slow on this one, but hits very hard. It has these 2 attacks followed by a launch upward, after which it will crash back down to you after a short while. It doesn't necessarily have to be a 3 combo chain though, sometimes it just decides to launch upward. It also has this laser explosion attack that's pretty obvious to dodge. And he has this continuous laser that you can outrun, but it got cancelled on my occasion because he decided to go to his second phase. In this phase, the boss will be untargetable and summon 4 different units. Of those 4, only one is actually vulnerable to attacks. That's the one marked by a circle. You will need to kill the marked unit to get the main body to expose itself and get a -50 resistance shred. The thing to keep in mind here is that if it's these 3 guys, you can just hug the main body and hope they will jump into you. But if it's the all-important Dorito, you will want to run towards it and position yourself on its front facing the main body. Just stand there touching its hitbox and let it do its thing. If done right, it will jump backwards into the main body where you can do your normal setup. Now there's also this attack that it does if you run away from it, but please don't do this, it's a massive waste of time. Other than that, just attack it, get to the 30% HP gate, wait for the second phase, and hope you get the Dorito. And that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes this video. If you like it, subscribe. Took a lot of time to do. Yeah, okay, bye.